Hello everyone, this is Robin the Sudoku guy with another tutorial number 73, and it's a very interesting tutorial because it's what I call the great scavenger hunt. Now a lot of us, when we do the advanced puzzles, finish up having to put all little numbers in, and it starts to look like this. Then the question comes, how do you get rid of them? What techniques do you need to watch for? What things do you have to look for in order to get rid of them? So I'm going to be spending a bit of time on that type of skill. When you look at this is not a real puzzle, this is just a section of a puzzle. It's a demonstration, in other words. What I would like you to look at, first of all, is this column here. There is a hidden 3x3 there. Hidden meaning it's in amongst all the other numbers, but it's there. Some people call it a hidden triplet. And what that means is that there's 3 cells that only 3 numbers could go into. We don't know which cell they're going to go into, but there's 3 cells with only 3 numbers that can go there. My sweetheart found this. She's nodding her head. She's found it. Way to go, love. Here it is. Have you found it? The numbers are 2, 3, and 4. Here's a block with 2, 3. Here's a cell rather. Here's a cell with 2, 3. Here's a cell with 2, 4. And here's a cell with 3, 4. 3 cells which only 2, 3, and 4 belong. Therefore, and this is the key, you can get rid of any other numbers that are not part of those 2, 3, or 4 in those cells. Let me show you. In this one here, we keep the 2, 3, we can get rid of the 6, 7, and 9. Okay? In this cell, we can keep the 2, 4, we can get rid of the 9 and the 7. Now, the other cell was this one down here, the 3, 4. We can keep the 3, 4, but we can get rid of the 9. That cleared things up quite a bit, didn't it? So that's what you do with a hidden triplet. Now, by doing that, I've discovered, and you may have discovered this already, if you did, fantastic, that we have now a 2, 3 matching pair. Now we know that the rule for a matching pair is that no other little 2 or 3 can be in that row. So that means we can get rid of this 3 here. Kaput, gone. So you're left with a 6, 7. Well, that was interesting enough right there. Now let's, for fun, look at this block over here. If you look at this block over here, we have what I call exclusion rule to happen. Tutorial number 2 has a good demonstration of it. In this block, this 6 can only be there or there, nowhere else in the block, but the block does have to have a 6. Because they are in this row, we can get rid of those other 6s, such as this one, and this one. Now, what's the ramification of that? Well, first of all, I see that we have a big 7 here, see? So we can make a big 7, and let's see the ramification of that one. The big 7 goes there. Now we look along here, are there any other 7s? Yes, there are. There's a 7 here, and there's a 7 here. So those 2 7s can go. Now let's look down. Are there any 7s down in here? Well, there were some there, but we got rid of them already. Down here, oops, we have 2 7s down in here. Let's get rid of those 2 7s because we already have a big 7. Okay, what does that do? Well, here we go again. That gives us a matching 5, 9 pair. And we know from the rules that if you have a 5, 9 pair here, no other little numbers can go in there. It's just going to be either a 5 or a 9, but we don't know which ones. So therefore, this 5 here has to go, and it becomes a 6. So let's get rid of the 5 and put the 6 in. Now we're getting some big numbers, aren't we? That's really getting pretty exciting. Now let's go back to, let me see now, this block here. In this block here we have another exclusion rule. You find exclusion rules very popular in puzzles that are difficult with lots of little numbers. Here is 2, 2. That's only in this row. In this block, it must have a 2. One of these will be a 2. We don't know which one. But because one of those will be a 2, we can get rid of this 2 and this 2. Now what does that do? That gives us a big 4. Well, that's interesting. Let's make it a big 4 and see if there's any ramifications. You can probably see some already. Let's go down to begin with. Here we have a 4. So that 4 goes and we get a big 3. Let's get that fixed. Okay, we now have a big 3. Now what's the ramification of that big 3? That's going up here. We've got a 3 here, so that no longer can be a 3. That becomes a 2. Okay, so this becomes a 2. Now that we have a 2 there, that can't become a 2. So this can become a 3. Now you probably thought before when I've got rid of that 3 that, oh, that has to be a 3. Yes, you're quite right. And I wanted to do this deliberately to show you that sometimes you'll miss a really good ramification, but you find it later on. And that's what we've just done with that 3. So that becomes a big 3. Here we go. Now, what about this new 4? We went down this way. And that's all the result of that going down that way. What about going this way? Well, this 4 can go, and this 4 can go, which gives us a big 7. Wow, if we have a big 7, this 6, 7 can go, and this becomes a 6. And this 6 means that that 6 goes. And this 7 means that that 7 goes, and we're left with a 1-9 matching pair. Now, when I put that 7 in, did you notice? You're probably saying, hey Robin, you missed something. Yes, you're quite probably right. This is the only place in this block a 4 can go. So we can put the 4 in there, and this 9 goes, so that becomes a 4. And you've also probably noticed, and you're yelling at me right now, that we have a 1-9 matching pair. If you have a 1-9 matching pair, a 1 or a 9 elsewhere in this block has to go. So this has to go, and this becomes a 2. Now there's one more. I think we can go one more step. This 4 means that that 4 can go, and we finish up with a 6-9 matching pair. So you can see, look at the numbers that we were able to make, get rid of. Now that you've got a 6-9, 6-9, we can now quickly get rid of this 9 because of the rule, and this 9, this 9, and this 9. And you're finishing up with, this is interesting, it happens quite a lot in the advanced puzzles, 6-9, 4-7, 2-8, all matching pairs. Now we have another demonstration. This is not a complete puzzle, it's just part of a puzzle. If you look at this closely, can you spot matching pairs, and can you spot conjugate pairs? There's several of them. Admittedly, they're only in 4 blocks, it's easier. Did you find, for example, there's a 4-6, 4-6 matching pair here? That can't make any changes because the rest of the block is full. But over here we have a matching pair, and it's a 5-9. That means that any other 5 or 9 in this block can be removed. Well, it just so happens that we have a 9 in here, so that can be removed. Kaput, gone. Now, this particular section of those 4 blocks has a XY wing, and this is the these are the cells that we have to watch for. Pivot, this is the pivot, right there, and these other, so I'll circle the other cells involved. Here's the 6-8, I'll circle that one, and here's the 4-8, and I'll circle that one. And you've got, this would be the X, and this would be the Y. Now, opposite these two, this cell here is what we're going to be looking at. In this cell, we have an 8. Now, it's interesting to note that if you look at the pivot here, this pivot, and I'll circle it with the blue, this pivot is interesting in that if this turns out to be a 4, that 4 goes and that becomes an 8. However, if this turns out to be a 6, this 6 means that that goes and this becomes an 8 as well. So either way, whatever happens, whether this is a 4 or a 6, that will be an 8 or that will be an 8. In either way, this cannot be an 8. If this becomes an 8, that can't be an 8. If this becomes an 8, that can't be an 8. If this 8 can see that 8 because it's in the same row, and if this 8 can see this 8 because it's in the same column, that 8 can go and you finish up with a big 3. So that's a quick look at an NXY wing. Let's go on to some more examples. When you look at that, boy, oh boy, there's lots of little numbers there. Well, I got to say a thank you to Jason Linhart from Enjoy Sudoku app. This is one I got from him, and he's given me the okay to use it. So it's something that when you first look at it, you say, well, where do I start? Wow, boy. Well, here's some suggestions. First of all, I look for matching pairs. Well, on the top row, we have a 1, 2, 1, 2 matching pair. That's important to realize. We also have a 3, 9 matching pair. Now, are there any other matching pairs? Have a look around, see if you can find them. The second thing I look for is are there any strong links or conjugate pairs? Well, if I just look at the top here, there's a conjugate pair on 3 and 9, of course, and 1 and 2. There's a conjugate pair with 6. We have a 6 here and a 6. 6 only occurs twice in that row. We have a conjugate pair on something else. Where did I see another one? Oh, yeah. There's a conjugate pair down here somewhere as well. I think it's on 2. Anyway, watch for those because those are clues to what could come down the road in terms of finding certain patterns like two-string kites, like skyscrapers, like X-wings and things like that. Okay, so let's start off to see what I can find. So we have, let me see, let's just take this second row. There, if you look at this block here, we have the exclusion rule happening. Lesson tutorial number 2. Here we have a 1 that occurs only in this row in this block. This block must have, as I mentioned before, a 1. One of these is going to be a 1. We don't know which one. And so that means that we can get rid of this 1 over there. Another duh. Okay. Now, so that helps us. Now also in this row, have you noticed? You probably have noticed it already. There is a matching pair, a 5, 7, 5, 7 matching pair, which means we can get rid of any other 5 or 7 along that row. So let's get rid of that 5 and that 7. Now we're left with a 3, 6. So basically there's only 3 cells left, a 1, 3 and a 6 there because 5, 7s are spoken for. Now, let's see what else we can find. Oh, here's another matching pair. See the 5, 7, 5, 7 there. So let's see what that does. We'll get rid of other 5, 7s in this column. This 5, 7 can go. This 5, 7 can go. And this 7 can go. And that 7 can go. See the power of the matching pair? Okay. And almost lost the 2 there, but that's a 2. Now, that was handy. Let me see now. What else can I find here? Yes, I found a hidden matching pair. hidden matching pair simply means that the matching pair is in two cells, but there are other numbers in there. And if you take this row here, see this row here, the 1 and the 3 only occurs in two cells, 1, 3 there and a 1, 3 there. That's a hidden matching pair, and what that does, what that says is that you can get rid of any other number in those two cells that are not part of the matching pair. So we can get rid of this 2, we can get rid of that 7, we can get rid of that 7. So we've got another matching pair. That was interesting. Now we have, here's a conjugate pair on 7s now. Keep that in mind. Pushing right along. What else have we got here? Here's a 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7. Oh, looking at this, I think I can see an X-wing using the number 2. Have a look over here. This is a 2 and that's a 2. Conjugate pair. Aren't the only two places in that? And let's see if there's another one somewhere. Yes, there is. There's a 2 here and there's a 2 here, but it's a finned X-wing. There's another 2 here. So let me just help out here. I'm going to colour the fin. We'll make this the fin. Now, generally speaking, a finned X-wing means that either the fin is true or the X-wing is true. Now, if the fin is true here, that means that 2 can go and that 2 can go. So we can get rid of it. I'm not going to get rid of them right now because I'm going to talk about something else in a minute. But if the X-wing is true, which is good, that means we have an X-wing on columns. There's a 2, 2, and here's a 2, 2. There's your X-wing. It goes from here down to here, and from here down to here. That means that because we've got an X-wing on columns, we can get rid of the 2's in the rows. Now, let me see, are there any 2's that we can get rid of in the rows that are not part of the X-wing? Well, here's one right here. So that becomes a 5. Get rid of that 2. Okay. If we get rid of that 2, this becomes a 5. And if that becomes a 5, that 5 goes. Now we have a 2, 7, 2, 7 matching pair as well as part of an X-wing. If we have an X-wing, if we have an X-wing, I'm assuming now this wasn't true, but the X-wing was true. If the X-wing was true, this 2 here can go, and this 2 can go even if you have if this becomes true. So the 2 can go for sure. Now, because this is an X-wing on columns, we can get rid of any other 2's other than the 2 of the actual X-wing along here. There's a 2 here we can get rid of. There's a 2 here we can get rid of. And we can eliminate that 2. All those numbers we could get rid of because we assumed that this was now an X-wing. So there's lots of little numbers that we're able to get to eliminate. Now, moving right along, if this becomes a 2, then you know that that becomes a 2. The diagonal of an X-wing is always, if that's a 2, that's a 2, or vice versa. If that's a 2, that's a 2. And I've covered that in another tutorial. We just showed you a few things you could have got rid of to eliminations. There's lots more. For example, you could, when I put this 5 in, we could have got rid of that 5, that 5, and that 5, and that 5. When we managed to get a 2, 7, 2, 7 matching pair, we could have got rid of that 5, which made that a 7, and this becomes a 5, this becomes a 7. It's just amazing. So many more things you may find that you could eliminate little numbers. Just to finish off, I've got a little surprise. During this tutorial, we got rid of a lot of little numbers This represents all the little numbers that we got rid of. Bye for now.